Good afternoon and welcome back to Let's Play Total War Shogun 2 Rise of the Samurai. Currently, our army that we have dispatched from Wakasa is attacking the Adachi province of Echizen. It's their capital, it's their only place, and we've got a lot of troops, and this is our first HD battle that I'm putting up, so you're all in for a bit of a treat today. Basically, as you know, we have a full stack, primarily Naginata Levy, and a moderate amount of bow levy. The enemy defending force is, however, only a standard town watch, so 3 Nagi levy garrison, 2 bow levy garrison. Now you'll notice on the far side here, I've actually split our force. Now normally without a general you wouldn't do this, unless it gives you some sort of clear tactical advantage. And the benefit I'm going for here is that we have sufficient numbers on this side for the flanks to be covered, and for morale to be maintained at a high level. We want to try to chain route this group of defenders, as it's a town and they will rout, and so we want to try to bring in our forces on both sides at once and simply overwhelm them. Now, this is going to be relatively straightforward, and we've seen these fights several times before, so I'll be going for a mainly cinematic approach, and in the meantime there's something I'd like to discuss that someone asked me about outside of the thread, and that is, what are the effects of the difficulty levels? And that's a very good question because it's not particularly well documented anywhere. Now, the difficulty levels are normal, easy is the lowest, then normal, hard, and very hard. There is a final difficulty level above that called legendary. Now, on the easy difficulty level, as you would expect, there are large bonuses to the player. You actually get a large boost to morale of your troops. It's invisible on your unit card, but it is factored into the calculations, as well as having significantly reduced upkeep costs, construction costs. Everything's cheaper for you, and the computer is limited in the ways that it can play. It has less recruitment slots, less money to play with, it has higher upkeep, it takes longer to research technology, all of these things that slow it down. And for the battle AI, their troops have reduced morale, in addition to yours having advanced morale, and they're limited in what actions it can perform. It will very rarely flank you, for example. It won't use cover. It won't hide in trees. It's basically all very cut down. Now in normal, which is what I'm doing this Let's Play on, you would think that normal has no benefits or disadvantages for either side, but in fact it is still slightly weighted towards the player. The computer is on almost full battle AI. Generally it can do anything that it could, that it was capable of doing, but it may not do them as often as possible. So it takes a little bit longer to respond to things like holes in your flanks or you leaving your unit exposed than it does on the harder difficulty levels. So it's not limited in what it can do by sheer capability, it's limited in its reaction speed. So, other than that, inside the campaign itself, it's basically, it has a slight disadvantage. The computer's at a disadvantage inside the campaign. Its units are slightly more expensive to build, slightly more expensive to maintain. So it won't be able to maintain as large an army as you would expect. For hard, it flips around the other way. The computer will use every trick in the book, and it in fact has a morale boost. Its units have higher morale than you would otherwise expect, but inside the campaign itself there's not too much different. It's just a slight flip from normal. It's basically, hard is what most people would consider normal. The computer has a slight advantage to make up for the fact that you are better at playing the game than the computer is, generally speaking. So that's hard. Now, very hard is basically the computer has all of its abilities turned on, as in hard, but it in fact has a large number of boosts. It gets bonuses to the amount of troops it can recruit in a slot, which is why it might appear that it can summon what appears to be armies out of nowhere. It is in fact buying them. It has effectively infinite money as well as cheaper upkeep. But it doesn't really matter that it has cheaper upkeep. Because it has effectively infinite money, it will basically build whatever it can build and continue. Now, legendary is basically very hard, but with no ability to save, it only the autosave, and it also, you can't use the mini-map. Their enemy troops are hidden when you're in the battle map unless you're within 600 game meters. So it's much harder to work out what the enemy force is, and your camera is limited to only what your units can see. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the explanation on difficulty levels, and also enjoyed watching lots of little Adachi bastards getting slaughtered. Have a great one, and I'll catch you next time.